Good afternoon. It's Monday, November 30. I'm Giovanni Dennis with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. There's more trouble in the People's National Party as Vice President Damian Crawford unleashed a series of criticisms against St. Anne South East Member of Parliament Lisa Hanna and the party president Mark Golding. This in a series of leaked conversation being circulated online. Shamila Pullen has the details.
A leaked voice note that has been circulating on social media with PNP's Vice President Damian Crawford criticizing PNP President Mark Golding and St. Anne South East Member of Parliament Lisa Hanna may open up a can of worms for the party. In the 23-minute-long voice note, Mr. Crawford said Mr. Golding's presidency will only be fitting for the next 2 years.
I mean, Mark is the most ready for the next 2 years. But the election is not the next 2 years. And we can't change again.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate reality we have faced. Nobody can come 2 year time come say, oh, we're ready now. So I say, no, but we never go from them long time there.
He says Mr. Golding is very capable of leading the party. However, the people's opinions are different.
They have a race at some, so them call them medley relay. One man won a 400, one man won 200, and then the next man won a 800. If you put the 400 man from the 800, they definitely not going to make it enough. Mark is a very good 400 meter runner. Very capable, etc. But the people are of the opinion, so we need a Andrew.
As a result, he believes the party could have a hard time winning the local government election, especially because, according to him, the PNP president may have fallen here to Peter Bunting's enemies.
The problem is that all I want PNP, I say, yo, we're not going with Mark. You understand? Because of that animosity in their mind. So, Mark unfortunately inherits Bunting's enemy.
The PNP VP adds that he's the most committed to the party's ideology and then went on to downplay Lisa Hanna's popularity. Ms. Hanna lost the PNP presidential election following her defeat from the vice presidential bid.
I am the most committed to the ideology of the party. The most. And when people say Lisa popular, she has never gotten the cheer when we come on PNP meeting. She has never gotten the adoration when we get when we are the regular people. Never. Lisa I get the cheer where Dayton Campbell get when he reach our PNP. So how that popularity in transition to anything else?
Shamila Pullen, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the People's National Party is insisting it's ready to start its preparations for the next local government election. This after the party elected a new chairman and a general secretary on Sunday during its National Executive Council meeting at Jamaica College in St. Andrew. Details in this report.
On Sunday, Dr. Dayton Campbell was elected General Secretary for the People's National Party, and already he has plans to organize the party and prepare it for election. Dr. Campbell believes he can make the party winnable for the next election. The local government election was postponed until 2022, which Dr. Campbell believes means the PNP has 1 year to get its act together before facing the electorate under its new leadership.
The first order of business is to go to the HQ and meet with the staff there and to ensure that we start moving the party forward. There are some imperatives, organizational imperatives that we have to get on. Some of these things we can't discuss in the media, obviously. Things around enumeration and canvassing and our training programs and those things. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I have a manifesto that I had shared with the comrades, and those are things that we're committed to achieving. We also have a work program for the party leader. We have to make preparations for the local government election that is coming up.
Meanwhile, the PNP's new chairman, Philip Paulwell, says he will relinquish the post of vice president of the party. Speaking with our news center Sunday night, Mr. Paulwell said this will be done shortly.
Now that I have been elected chairman of the party, I want to devote my attention to the role as chairman of the party. So shortly I will vacate the position of vice president. Obviously I have to be in discussion with the party leader on the timing of that. But I believe that it is only reasonable that another comrade occupy this position.
Both Dr. Campbell and Mr. Paulwell were elected during the party's National Executive Council meeting (NEC) at Jamaica College on Sunday. 286 of 336 members of the NEC participated in the election process. Dr. Campbell went up against former Deputy General Secretary Raymond Price and won with 147 votes. That's 9 more than his opponent, while Mr. Paulwell gained 153 votes, defeating his sole challenger, Dr. Angela Brown Burke, who received 133 votes. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
An 87-year-old woman from Westmoreland is the latest to die from COVID-19 in Jamaica. The country's death toll has now increased to 257. The health minister says one more death is being investigated. Meanwhile, 54 new COVID-19 cases were recorded in Jamaica Sunday, pushing the total to 10,763. Their ages range from 12 to 83 years old. Kingston and St. Andrew recorded the most of the new cases. The Ministry of Health says 70 persons are hospitalized with the respiratory illness. 9 patients are critically ill. In the meantime, local government minister Desmond McKenzie says the Holness administration is moving to institute stiffer penalties for illegal parties. He says the details will be announced soon. Mr. McKenzie's pronouncement comes against the background of continued flouting of COVID-19 rules, with one person being shot at an illegal party in Portmore St. Catherine Saturday night.
What this is saying to us that there can be no consideration for any activities in that form for the Christmas. You know, the government has to be firm on the position that we have taken. The death of the individual at an illegal party in Portmore is a clear indication of the contempt and the disregard for law and order, which I think we are going to have to take some serious steps, you know, and in the coming weeks, you know, more will be said on some of the measures that will be taken.
As the festive season approaches, the Trelawney Police have stepped up surveillance in areas where there will be heightened commercial activities. Commanding Officer Superintendent Kirk Ricketts says despite seeing a reduction in some criminal offences, things can change during the Yuletide season. He says the police will not be taking any chances.
As it relates to robberies, we are looking at a 53% reduction. We're looking at reductions in break-ins, which is, I think, 45% reduction in break-ins and a 25% reduction in larceny. So, nevertheless, we are prepared for increased activity, you know, pedestrian, vehicular, you know, activity within the commercial spaces. We have the strategies and tactics that would have worked for us last year.
And with COVID-19 a major issue, Superintendent Ricketts says they have all the resources in place to carry out their duties effectively. He added that while persons in Trelawney have been largely compliant with the COVID-19 protocols, there are those who still disobey the orders.
However, as the restrictions prolong over time, we have seen where, you know, some amount of frustrations on the part of the citizens, the residents, would have led them to, from time to time, breach these restrictions. Since March this year, we have made over 118 arrests for breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Act. But I am relatively comfortable.
And we now take a break here on the Midday News. Please stay with us. We'll have more stories when we return. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. A deal has reportedly been agreed between Britain's Home Office and Jamaica to exclude people who went to the UK as children from a controversial deportation flight to the island this week. Jamaica's High Commissioner to the UK, Seth Ramakan, told Britain's Guardian newspaper that this followed diplomatic overtures. Prince Moore has the details.
The news comes after 82 black public figures, including model Naomi Campbell, urged airlines not to carry up to 50 Jamaicans on the Home Office deportation flight. Mr. Ramakan says Jamaica's High Commission made representations to the Home Office ahead of the December 2 charter flight and an agreement reached not to deport those who arrived in Britain under the age of 12. The Home Office has declined to comment. Home Office charter flights are a common way to remove those classified as having no right to remain in the UK, including due to serious criminal convictions. The last charter flight to Jamaica was in February. Charter flights to Jamaica are particularly controversial because of the Windrush scandal and because some due for deportation went to the UK as children and had families there. In 2018, a Home Office commissioned report from the former Prisons and Probation Ombudsman Stephen Shaw called for a new approach to the policy of detaining and removing people who had committed crimes but lived most of their lives in Britain. According to the Guardian newspaper, the Home Office has not implemented the recommendation. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
The driver of the car involved in Sunday's crash, which resulted in the death of 18-year-old TVJ Millard, has been arrested and charged. He has been charged with causing death by dangerous driving. He is to appear in the Mandeville Resident Magistrates Court next Wednesday. His name has not been released. Now, according to reports, shortly after 12 Sunday afternoon, TVJ was heading home on his bike when a car believed to have been overtaking a line of traffic heading in the same direction hit the teen from his bike. The young biker was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The teen's irate grandfather, Everton Morrison, said he wants justice for his grandson.
The grandson just live down the road down there, so it's like him a pull out now if you go, man, if you go buy something, man. The white taxi man there, whoever take one line of traffic a come up, one man the back of him and see the hanky-panky driving where the man a put on.
Meanwhile, head of the Manchester Police Superintendent Gary Francis says although that corridor is regularly patrolled, he is appealing to motorists to use it with care.
A highway patrol along this stretch, and we will actually step up our monitoring given what is happening just now. But we do express our condolences to the family just now that are grieving, and we want to assure them that we'll investigate the accident, and whomever is at fault, justice will be served.
And over in St. Mary, a man is dead following a motorcycle accident on Back Road in Highgate over the weekend. The deceased has been identified as 48-year-old Glenroy Brighton, a videographer of a Highgate address. About 10 o'clock Saturday night, Brighton was driving his motorbike along Back Road when he was hit by a Toyota Probox.
All right, I stopped to buy some goods from this fruit place here. And while in the process of doing that, I heard an impact. And when I looked across the road, I saw a man on a bike and like it got out of control and was going across the road. And then a car coming from up the road there.
The same direction the bike was coming from.
Right. The bike man and the bike end up across the road there.
The man was taken to the Port Maria Hospital where he later died. Poor weather and bad roads have been the main challenges facing farmers recently. But for those who sow crops at Holland Estate in St. Elizabeth, there's another concern: the invasion of cattle.
Cattle roaming freely on Holland Estate farms. This is the plight of farmers in the area who say their crops are being trampled on by the animals.
Hundreds and hundreds of cows just, walk the property day and night and damage the farmer's crop. The extent of which is not able to be recovered. You put in 2 acres of a particular crop, and because of the cows, you lose the entire thing. And then some farmers are forced to use barbed wire to fence the property. And you're talking about fencing, in some instances, 9-10 acres of land.
The farmers who refused to speak with our news team on camera say the issue is deeper than it seems, as there's a rift between cattle and crop farmers.
The cow farmers really don't care, because they don't want the farmers who are doing crop production to settle on the land. They want the land, the property for themselves, and it's now causing a problem, a rift between the crop farmers and the cattle farmers, to the extent where persons have been threatened. Life has been threatened.
They complain that the issue is costing them a lot of money, which cannot be recouped.
There is no compensation from the previous establishment who has given it up now to AIC. It was Holland Producers before, and now AIC. And the problem with the cows has gotten even worse since AIC has taken it on.
And even as cattle continue to roam freely on the lands, destroying their livelihoods, the farmers are appealing for a solution.
The agriculture sector needs to do better. And the stakeholders who provide land tenure, they need to provide better solutions for the farmers.
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
In news overseas, the United States is closing in on a potential vaccine for COVID-19, but a number of critical decisions on the matter are set to happen between now and the end of the year. More from the CNN.
Monday, November 30th, is when White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx says she hopes to brief President-elect Joe Biden's administration on America's response to the pandemic. It'll be critical to moving forward.
We've spent the last 9 months really developing sophisticated databases that are bringing together information from across the country down to the county level. We can see who's being admitted. We can see who's getting sick. We can see where this virus is moving in communities.
Then, Tuesday, December 1st, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Vaccines will hold an emergency meeting. Rick Bright, a Biden COVID-19 advisory board member, says it's a good sign.
They will have further discussions on how to prioritize that vaccine, primarily because we know that the vaccine will be available in very limited doses.
On December 10th, an FDA vaccine advisory committee will consider Pfizer's vaccine for emergency use authorization.
News in sports now. Persistent rain has resulted in a no result in the third T20 International between the West Indies and New Zealand at the Bay Oval today. The Caribbean side batting first reached 25 for 1 after 2.2 overs before the rain came. Jamaican Brandon King, who was the only wicket to fall as he departed for 11. Andre Fletcher and Kyle Mayers were left unbeaten on 4 and 5 respectively. Lockie Ferguson took 1 for 13 off his 1 over for the home side. Now New Zealand won the 3-match T20 series 2-0. The visitors will now turn their attention to a 2-match test series with the first beginning on December 3 in Hamilton. And that's the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.